Okay, so we're moving on. In the previous clip, we talked about the 4 different levels of defense, where we talked about the head, which we kind of got into fairly in depth in that clip. Then we talked about our hands, our hips, and then tricks. But I want to focus in on the down block a little bit more right now. And again, the down block is, I would consider it somewhat of an advanced technique, because typically people that are just starting out in wrestling are learning to sprawl. But if we can learn to have an effective down block, it's easy enough to learn, and it can defend. You can have a whole nother layer of defense added in, and sprawling is great, but if we don't have to, it's even better. So we were mentioning before, if Tony gets past my head and he gets to my hips, this is where we're going to sprawl. This is too late to down block now. I'm in trouble here, so come back a little bit. So to down block, just some key things to have in mind. If I see that Tony is a right-handed, right foot lead wrestler, in my mind, I know that most of his attacks are probably going to be coming with his right hand. He's probably going to hit a single leg to this leg, his high crotch is going to come here, and his double leg, his head is going to come on this side as well. So keeping that in mind, this is his main hand. This should be my main focus. So regardless of which hand I tie up with, for me, this is a point of contention amongst coaches where there's differing views. For me, I almost always tie up with my backhand. Regardless of what leg my opponent is leading. Even though I know this is still going to be his attack hand, some coaches would argue that if I know this is attack hand, I should have my hand down ready to defend, and if he was the other leg lead, that I should know that now he's a left hand attack, and I should then switch and have the same side hand as ready to be, go back again, should be ready to be his down block hand. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to make contact. That's from the offensive perspective. But that's something to keep in mind, that some coaches have differing views on this. Mine is personally that I'm not going to change my offensive style. But again, I'm not saying that it's wrong. That's just how I wrestled. But again, we're focusing on the defensive side of it. So if you want more insight onto that, you can check out the offensive version of this video. But so when we're doing our down block, assuming that Tony is going to be a right-handed wrestler here, whether he's going to shoot, I'll have him shoot a single because it would be easier for that side of the camera right now. So when Tony begins to extend his arm here and starts to shoot, my goal is to meet him with the blade of my arm here. All right, I want to extend my arm out, and I don't want to be, I don't know what the word would be here. I don't want to be hesitant with this. I want to be proactive, where if I see that arm starting to come to me, I'm going to reach out and meet him here. I'm not going to wait here for him to get to me, where if my arm's this close to my leg, even though I had a down block there, he's still got his hands locked. All right, so as soon as I realize that he's starting to shoot and he got below my head, my hand comes out and meets him right around his elbow. I mean, if you miss a little bit low, that's fine, but you obviously don't want to be so far that you actually completely miss his hand. But I usually want to meet him right at his elbow. And again, all I'm doing is turning my hand down with my palm out and meeting that arm. So he comes down here. All right, hitting with that back of the blade of my arm. The reason we're doing that, we're locking our arm out so he can't bend my elbow in. If I meet him here, my elbow can bend. All right, and if he's got a strong, powerful shot, which Tony does, my arm's going to bend right in here, and it's going to be a waste of my time. So it's important when he shoots, I meet him here. All right, and then from here, I mean, this is a good opportunity for you offensive wrestlers to then maybe snap, look for your go-behinds, or even when he comes back up, you can get into your re-attacks. Again, not spending any time there today, but that's something to keep in mind. So same concept here. He was shooting a single leg. If he's shooting a high crotch, it's going to be the same thing. All right, the only thing that's a little bit different is that I want to step back the leg he's shooting at too. So I didn't really mention that before. So if he's going single, I'm stepping back that leg. All right, and this will just come with practice. You'll recognize that when he's hitting his swing single, he's stepping to the outside. I'm pulling that leg away, getting my down block in. If he's shooting to the high crotch, same thing. I'm down blocking, but I'm stepping back that leg. So whichever leg he's attacking, that's the one I'm going to look to pull that leg back. And my arm is basically either here or here. It's not really that much different. And again, as you practice this, you'll be able to see it's not too hard to differentiate between the two of them. One more thing that I will mention about this is what we mentioned with our head position. Again, that it's a little bit more advanced of a tactic, is moving our feet after we down block. I don't want to just simply down block and stand right here. Even if I pull my leg back, I don't want to stand right here. Yeah, just Tony can put a couple shots together. So anytime I'm down blocking, let's say he goes high crotch here, I'm circling my feet. All right, that's why it's good to get important moving in your stance. We never want to stay right in front of our opponent. We always want to have some sort of lateral motion, especially off of his attack, because that's a great time to look into our counterattacks. So that's just kind of a basic rundown on the down block. Again, I know it can be a technique that's taught a little bit at a little bit higher level, but if you can get it down as a beginner, it can make a world of difference, especially if you have a hard time matching head level. Being able to have this to stop your opponent before they get to your hips is amazingly important, and you'll get a lot of benefits from it.